Hey guys, Sandy here, and welcome to another episode of Stamping for Scrapbookers. Today our theme is spring and floral, so what I've decided to do is scrapbook these two not so quality photos of my husband and I. I've pulled out this cut file, which kind of feels more fallish, but I hope what I'm going to be able to do is use these All-to-New layering stamps. It's called Floral Fantasy. I also have the dies, and create something over this so that this fall kind of wreath starts to feel more springish. I've pulled out my reds and pinks and my green small inks, so let's see what I can do. Okay, so the first thing I did was pull out my stamping tool, and this is an Original Misty. I am just layering up my flowers here, and I'm going to leave this part in just because I think it is good to see other people's techniques and how they do the florals when they layer. When I did this larger flower, I started with the background portion first, and that meant I started with my lightest color first. When I did the smaller flowers, I actually started with the darkest color first, so I started with the top. And what that did was it created a little bit of difference in the colors, I guess just the way that they were layered up. And that way my flowers don't look the exact same. So I liked the way that it was done. It just gives me that little bit of difference. And I think that that's important because if all of the flowers were the exact same, it would kind of be boring. And I didn't want to mix up the colors. I wanted to use the 4 colors that I had picked out, so that's what we did. And then the 4 colors I picked out were from different manufacturers. I have some All-to-New, I have a Close to My Heart, I have a Hero Arts, and I have a Gina K. Now the great thing about a stamp positioner tool is, you know, if you don't get your ink all the way good on your paper, you just ink that little stamp right on back up and you throw it down again, and voila, you got yourself some more ink. Now you could definitely do this with an acrylic block. It would just be a little bit tougher to get it lined up each time. But it's totally doable with an acrylic block. Before I had a stamp positioner tool, that is what I did. Now, as you can see, my ink is a little bit blackened here, and that's because my little wipey thing that I use to do my wipe off my stamps is really dirty, guys. Like, it's filthy, and it really needs to be washed because these things keep the ink in them. It kind of absorbs the ink, and instead of completely redoing my flower, I just decided to go with it and just figured it would be a little bit of variation in color on the flowers that I have. So I was completely okay with that. You might not be, so because it isn't perfection, it is definitely kind of a screw up. You can always restamp it, but me, I think I am kind of a screw up. I don't mean like personally wise, but like my projects, they don't have to be utterly perfect, and I'm okay with that. Like, it's a little bit screwed up, and I'm okay with that. Like, that it's fine with me. It makes no difference if it isn't completely perfect. And you've probably realized that if you've watched any of my videos for any length of time. It's not essential for it to be perfect. I want it to look good, I want it to look decent, and I want it to like be fun and pretty and all that stuff, but perfection, it's not necessary. So I am taking the most detailed stamp here, and I'm layering that up. And if you look closely, like super closely at my florals, they aren't like completely exactly lined up. There are a little bit of variations and things where they're just a little bit off. But like I said, I'm not concerned about it being perfect. I guess if I was creating something to sell and or if somebody was paying me to make their scrapbook, I would spend like the forever amount of time making things perfect and everything was perfectly lined up and everything was coordinated, and that dirty stamping wouldn't have stayed on somebody else's scrapbook. But for me and my purposes, I'm happy with it. It's what I like. Now I did stamp and die cut these bad boys out, and then I left them overnight. And it's not something that I normally do. It was kind of late, which was part of the reason why I left them overnight. But the ink kind of seeps in and kind of evens out. So how the flowers looked in the morning, they were slightly different than how they looked at night. And not that that makes a whole lick of difference, because I still would have done the same thing I did, but it's just interesting to see that, I guess, is my whole point. Now, I did pull out a 6x6 paper pad and found 2 sheets of paper that I would like to mat these photos on. And I do trim down my photos down to 5 3/4 inches, and that is because I am using a 6x6 paper pad. And of course, a 4x6 photo will not give you that nice little border on a 6-inch piece of paper. They would kind of go over top of each other. So trimming it down is the best solution I have. There wasn't anything in that 1/4 of an inch of photo that really needed to be there. And if my photos were that important and that special and a 1/4 of an inch did make a difference in the photo, I would just use a different piece of paper. I wouldn't use a 6x6 paper pad. So I added a little bit of adhesive to this cut file, and then I'm just trying to figure out how I want my photos to layer up. So I just go ahead and do that. Now I am completely okay with the striped paper. It doesn't have the exact colors in it that are on my layout. It has kind of a yellowy color to it, and that gives a nod to the gold that I'm going to add later. And it has more of a minty tealy green, but I've got green in the leaves and it's close enough for me, and I don't feel like it is such a huge pop of color that it's really going to make the layout feel like not cohesive. You're not going to look down at the corner and be like, oh, Sandy girl, this just makes your layout like atrocious. And if you think that, I'm telling you that that's not the way you're going to think. But I mean, if you think that, then hey, don't worry, then don't do it, right? Don't add those little weird pops of color to your layout if you are a fan of coordinating everything. And like, if that's just the way it is, like, don't do it. Don't do something I'm doing if you don't like it. And I think that is something that I had to learn myself. I used to look at the way people scrapbooked, and I love the way when they did it, I thought it looked great, but I didn't like doing it, and I didn't like it on my pages, but I still kept trying to do it because, you know, that's what you do. Like, they were doing these great, beautiful things. And finally, I just decided, you know what? No, I'm going to watch your videos and I'm going to, you know, look at your layouts and love them and think they're gorgeous. But that's not for me. And that's okay. I can love your style and I can love your layouts and I can love your projects and still not like them for me. It's a weird thing that I think that we just have to work through and figure out in our own heads to get us there. Otherwise, you know, there's no variety. Like how boring would it be if everyone's layouts looked the exact same? There would be no reason for YouTube. There would be no reason for scrapbooking groups. There would be no reason for classes. Because if everybody's looked the same and we were all doing the same things, then it would get boring. You know, you gotta do what you want and enjoy it. I mean, try things out because you never know.
you might see something that you love on somebody else's layout, and you haven't ever done that before, so try it out. Try it out a couple times, because the first time we do something, it's a complete learning experience. The second time, you've got a little bit under your belt, but by the third time, if you hate it, then don't do it. Or if you just are not enjoying the process, then don't do it. But give it a chance. Give it a chance. Yeah, that was me in mixed media. I was like, no. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. I was like, The second time I was like, oh yeah, this is a lot easier. And the third time I was like, I love the mixed media. Like, so if I never would have given it that chance, then, like stamping on your layouts. Okay, let's get back off the rabbit trail and bring it back to stamping for scrapbookers. Maybe you just don't know what to do with stamps, or maybe you just don't know. So try it. Try different things. Try stamping like this, where you're not stamping on a layout, but you're creating elements. You're basically creating die cuts. Or you could create your own background. We've done that before. So just try things and see if you like them. And if you like them, keep doing them. And if you don't like them, try it again at least one more time, and then decide if you don't really like it. I am bringing in these gold words, and I am putting the word family on here, and then I'm going to add white thickers that say you are my, and it's going to say you are my family. And that is something that really, my husband really is my family, and I don't mean to belittle any other family relationships that I have, but there was a time in my life where my dad and I didn't speak. There was a time in my life when we didn't really speak to his family. They didn't speak to us either. There's been times in my life where I just felt like alone, and this man is the one that just keeps me together. He is an amazing man, and he puts up with my bullcrap, and he is strength personified, and he just deals with a lot with me. He just does, and he's amazing, and I can't even describe to you or put into words right now what I'm feeling, because my eyes are starting to tear up, and I can't cry right now because I have pink eye, and I just don't want to deal with that. So we're gonna stop talking about my husband. So anyway, let's switch gears. Now, Sarah, Christina, and Caitlin all have these layouts as well going up today. I know mine is a little bit late because hello, pink eye got me a little bit behind. But that's okay. Late is better than never, and now that ours will be posted throughout the day, if you don't have time to watch all 4 videos at once, you can kind of space it out and enjoy them that way. Their channel links will be down below, so please make sure that you go check them out. They are all super talented crafters, and I always enjoy everyone's layout and the different directions that we go. I'm really interested to see how the spring floral prompt for this month goes. And of course, we would love to see anything that you make with a spring or floral stamping theme on your scrapbooking layouts. So tag us on social media, post in any groups we're in, whatever you would like to do so that we could see it, because I do love checking out what everyone does. I just love looking at other people's stuff. It just inspires me in a crazy way. So I am using some Spiegelmom Scraps sequins here, and these are kind of like the super sparkly golden ones. And I'm pulling them out of the Glitz and Glam sequin mix. So I just figured out where I wanted them to go before I put down my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I'm using my Crystal Katana because I love this little sucker. It's so good. And if you are interested in grabbing some sequins, you can use my code down below, and that'll get you 15% off your order. I actually believe that there is a sale going on right now that is a little bit better than 15% off your order. So make sure you are a part of the Facebook group, because I believe it's posted in there. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Oh, that photo was sideways, but we're just going to leave it that way. I will see you guys again real soon for another video, and make sure you check out Christina, Kaylin's, and Sarah's videos for stamping for scrapbookers.